training. And we'll just get started and I'll hand you over to my colleague, Jose Hernandez. Thank you.
Thanks, Debbie. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's webinar. The title of the webinar is Helping Smaller Manufacturing Businesses Find Funded Training. And today I'm going to chair the session and I'm going to share with you some of the support that will be available that you'll be able to access through NMIS and the Manufacturing Skills Academy, and also through our colleagues from the West College, Scotland. We're going to talk about some of the free training and funded continuing professional development opportunities that you can access. And we also spend some time talking about manufacturing, engineering, modern apprenticeships. My name is Jose Hernandez, and I'm the Continuous Professional Development Manager at the Manufacturing Skills Academy, and I'm currently leading on an Advanced Manufacturing Challenge from the project, which I'm going to share with you in a minute. And today we're joined by our colleagues from West College, Scotland. So we will have presentations from three different presenters. We have Alistair Rogers, who is the Head of Engineering at West College, Scotland, Paul Fagan, who is the Head of Enterprise and Employability at West College, Scotland, and Robert Marshall, which is Curriculum Enhancement Lecturer, and is also the lead for another AMCF project at West College, Scotland. Some of the support that you'll be able to access free of charge at the moment is thanks to the support that we have received through our AMCF project. So we wanted this opportunity to say thanks to our funders. Before we start with the session, I'll just go through some housekeeping. So the webinar will be recorded, and after the end of the webinar, the recording will be available in our YouTube channel. So if you want to look at any information, you're able to do it there. We have muted your microphones and we turned off your webcams to avoid any background noise, but we would like to encourage you to participate in the webinar. And if you have any questions as we move into the session, please make sure that you use the chat function in the chat tool in the call. At the end of the session, we will allocate some time so that we can answer some of your questions. And at that point, we will be giving you an opportunity to also speak if you want to ask the question directly. If you're finding what we're sharing interesting, please, we will really appreciate if you can share it through Twitter using the hashtag at NMIS Insights. And at the end of the session, we will be releasing a survey, and we will appreciate if you can help us to complete this in the spirit of continuous improvement. We can only improve if we know what we're doing wrong, but also what we're doing good. So I'll start with a brief introduction to the National Manufacturing Institute of Scotland, and then I'll talk about the Manufacturing Skills Academy and the support that we have available. But the National Manufacturing Institute of Scotland is an industry-led international center of manufacturing expertise. And it's important to mention that this is a national asset. We want to transform the manufacturing capability in the industrial sector by bringing together industry, the higher education organizations, including the college and universities in Scotland, and the public sector support bodies to help deliver transformational impact. We want to help manufacturing companies evolve and grow, and our focus is on productivity, innovation, and skills. All of these are key areas where we offer support to these manufacturing companies. And our ambition is to help make Scotland UK global leaders in advanced manufacturing. On the right-hand side, you will see all of the key stakeholders that have been involved in the establishment of this initiative. So it's important to mention this is a Scottish government initiative, and again, highlighting the fact that this is a national level of support that we provide. Although we're here to represent all of the engineering universities in Scotland, the Strathclyde University gets a name because Strathclyde University has been tasked with operating the National Manufacturing Institute of Scotland. So that's why all of our email addresses will have a Strathclyde email address. But again, it's important to highlight that we're here to support and work collaboratively across the region. In terms of what NMIS will offer, we engage in collaborative research. We apply for grants and we work with industry and higher academic institutions to further advance knowledge in key digital manufacturing areas. We will be moving soon into a new state-of-the-art facility that will house state-of-the-art manufacturing equipment. And this will be a demonstrator of the capabilities that we have within NMIS, but also an opportunity to engage in that collaborative research that we discussed. Part of the services that we provide will be technical consultancy and end-to-end skills provision. This comes in hand with the collaborative research and the access to the equipment. And we currently operate a membership model as well. So individuals that join NMIS through our membership model will have access, specific access to certain services and products. And if you would like to find out more about this, I'll be happy to put you in touch with our membership manager. Within NMIS, we will have a lot of capability, but we're not here to reinvent the wheel. We're here to collaborate. We want to have a real transformational impact. We believe that collaboration is critical to achieving that. So we have built, and we're continuing to build a significant network of collaborators, both within industry and support sector organizations and academics. So if we're not able to resolve or find an inquiry for you, then we'll be able to point you in the right direction. And I can understand that for some organizations, navigating the support environment could be quite challenging. So we're using this slide to help showcase how NMIS, the governance works, and to help explain and demystify, and because we're here to facilitate some of that support. But under the NMIS group, we have a combination of core NMIS capability specialist technology centers. Which are the boxes highlighted in blue. So our oldest research center is the Advanced Forming Research Center, which I think was founded in 2009. And a spin out from the AFR, this is our oldest and is a well-established and very successful innovation center. And a spin out from there was the Lightweight Manufacturing Center, which will be housed within the new facility. And most recently, we will have the Digital Factory and the Manufacturing Skills Academy where I work, that will also be housed within the new building. So this building, we'll show you a little bit about it. We're very excited, but it's important to highlight again that it's not only about what we do within NMIS. The capability that we have through our network, it's also a huge asset to the collaboration. So we encourage you to come and speak to us if you're looking for support. So that's where I operate. So we're very excited about the NMIS building, which is going to come online imminently. These are pictures that were taken just around Christmas time, and I believe in the next few weeks, the members of staff like myself will be moving into this new facility. It's the purple area that you see in the background, that's going to be house our digital factory, and that's where all the state-of-the-art equipment will be, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But the rest of the building will house office space for the staff members within NMIS, but there'll be a collaboration environment as well, for where people will be able to come in and work from this location without necessarily needing to have access to some of the critical areas of the building to facilitate that collaboration and cooperation. We're looking out at the digital factory layouts, and this is continuously moving, as you can appreciate, but our original ambition is to have 18 unique digital innovation areas, just focus on specific support areas to create wide use cases. So for example, we have an area on photonics, we will have an area on robotics, we will have a digital factory demonstrator as well. And skills will be important across the entire areas, but we will also have our dedicated space where we will have equipment where the learners will be able to use to get a understanding of how some of these technologies operate. So I'll move to talk very quickly about the Manufacturing Skills Academy and the support that is available through us. Our objective, as one of the objectives of the Manufacturing Skills Academy, is to help inspire and attract talent. We have a responsibility for ensuring that the future workforce is equipped with the skills that businesses will need now and in the future. I have used that picture there to showcase, to do a comparison or an analogy with the education system. It can be a bumpy ride for many learners. And if we want to make sure that we encourage more people to stay within manufacturing and don't jump that bandwagon, then we see ourselves as a big part to play in this. The education ecosystem, it's a systems thinking problem, and that's the approach that we take to address the problem. Is an end-to-end education ecosystem approach. So we are engaged in a wide range of initiatives from STEM to industrial doctorates. And as you can see, some examples, some of the activities that we have there with our foundation apprenticeship in digital manufacturing. We have a big focus on equality, diversity, and inclusion. And we have a mature offering of training programs, continuous professional development. And we're also investigating novel and alternative ways to give learners an opportunity to engage with learners through our micro-credential programs. Just expanding a little bit in our capabilities, we currently have a research and development capability in the area of skills, again, as part of the responsibility to help close the talent gap or help organizations achieve their talent goals. We're currently doing research into this area to help us better predict future trends and help us to meet future challenges. As we mentioned, we have an end-to-end skills ecosystem approach, and we have a comprehensive portfolio of training programs, and many of these programs are currently available free of charge, and we'll speak about this in a minute. Thanks to the funding that we have, we can also offer limited technical consultancy support. For example, things like operational excellence, ED&I, manufacturing, circular economy. If you have a particular challenge that you think could benefit from a quick workshop or a quick training session for your organization, please get in touch and we'll see if we can support you. We also, in our team, have a lot of pedagogical expertise, and this is thanks to the close relationship that we have with the University of Strathclyde. And our long-term ambition is to be able to offer skills as a service, and we're here for the long haul. We're here to develop long-term relationships with our industrial clients, so we can understand where you are, what your problems are, where you want to go. We'll be able to better support you, and we want to become a service partner in the area of skills, so we can support you with your to develop bespoke learning pathways and help you with creating meaningful learning experiences that are relevant to you and your organization. We don't claim to have all the knowledge and expertise, so we do rely on external teams as well to help us develop some of the content that we currently offer, and that opens collaboration opportunities as well. So if you're keen to find out more about collaboration, please get in touch. This is an example of some of the programs that we launched last year. It's just a brief snapshot. And as you can see, there's a wide range of opportunities, and the areas in black highlight the themes. So digital manufacturing and leadership, innovation, advanced manufacturing, operational excellence, circular economy and net zero, materials and light weighting, electrification, and we're going to be moving soon into the ED&I area as well. So the courses that I have highlighted in blue in this list are the ones that you can currently access free of charge through our state-of-the-art learning management system. And the ones in purple are courses that are about to launch. Not all these programs are in operation, but if you get in touch, then we do use a voice of the customer approach to see what we're going to launch next. And I'll just speak very briefly about our AMCF program called Digital Manufacturing and Leadership Continuous Professional Development. Some of the courses that are currently offered free of charge, we're able to do this thanks to our AMCF project. And and thanks to this project, we can also support up to 7 hours of funded support for manufacturing SME, and this can be made up of a number of things: site visits, bespoke workshops, technical consultancy, and signposting. It's important to mention that this support is only available until the end of May 2023, so time's running out. If you would like to access some of the support, please get in touch. And some of the achievements that we have made through this program, at the moment we have those 10 online courses, and we have run a range of workshops and training events, both face-to-face and virtual. We have engaged 166 unique Scottish manufacturing SMEs, and we're really proud of this. Some companies that we didn't know existed, and they didn't know we existed, and now we're building strong relationships. For some of these companies, we have provided between 4 to 6 hours of support, and which is a key target for our funders. We have to achieve a 7-hour support with a certain number of companies. And these 7 hours of support have been provided to 7 manufacturing SMEs. And so there's plenty of opportunities, and we have examples there of companies that have benefited from our support. And as we mentioned, is that facilitation of introductions and speaking to other programs as well. I'll hand over to my colleagues now in West College, Scotland, but our ask is if you think your business could benefit from some of the support that we have on offer, please get in touch. Even if you don't think that there's an opportunity because of the network that we have. You'll be surprised about what we can do for your business. And my ask as well is if you like what we're doing, please help us create awareness of our business unit, NMIS, and the opportunities that we have available. Alistair, is it okay if I hand over to you?
Thank you, Jose. Yes, that's fine. I'll share my screen now. So good morning, everyone. Just following on from Jose's presentation, it links in very, very well to the college. West College Scotland have been working in collaboration with NMIS for the last few years on a number of projects, which include the Foundation Apprenticeship and Digital Manufacturing that Jose mentioned within his presentation, as well as supporting the modern apprenticeship delivery within the FRC facility. So we're going to just cover some programmes at the college that help smaller manufacturing businesses with CPD requirements. So just as a reminder, my name is Alistair Roger. I'm Head of Engineering at the college. My colleagues Paul Fagan and Robert Marshall will introduce themselves as we go through, but they will also be participating in the webinar this morning from the college. For those of you who don't know, West College Scotland has been in existence for almost 10 years now. It was a collaboration of three previous colleges, Reed Kerr, Clydebank and James Watt. So we have campuses based on the three locations previously. So we've got a Paisley campus, Clydebank and Greenock campuses. My focus is really manufacturing engineering, which is a real key strategic sector for both the college and for the kind of Renfrewshire, Inverclyde and Western Berkshire regions that we service. Within engineering, we split into three main areas: mechanical manufacturing, electrical engineering systems, and marine and fabrication and welding. Most of what we're going to talk about today is around the mechanical manufacturing area, which is based out of our Renfrewshire campus in Paisley. We also have part of that within our Greenock campus and facility down in Greenock, with the main focus of our Clydebank campus being fabrication and welding. So just to kind of start off then, we want to talk about four main things throughout the next 30 minutes or so. So we're going to be looking at the Advanced Manufacturing Challenge Fund project. Jose referenced the project from NMIS. We have our own project that Robert will spend some time talking about. We also have some case studies that we would like to share on meta skills development that Paul will talk through, and that will link in well with one of the funds that we have available. It's the Flexible Workforce Development Fund, which is available to SMEs, and Paul will give you more information on that as we move forward. And then I'll finish up with just giving some information on engineering apprenticeships within the manufacturing and the funding that's available therein. So to kind of kick off with the first bit, we in the college developed, go back to 2019 now, a critical engineer project. It was really looking at what we felt manufacturing companies needed as they move forward. Within that, we had a number of aims, and it all kind of came out from the kind of Scotland's manufacturing future. And we looked at how we could help the kind of regional skills hub connect with what we were deeming to be manufacturing 4.0 skills pipeline, and effectively how we can work with NMIS to make sure that we can take employees through that CPD journey, through that journey from what we would maybe of termed at the time Industry 2.0 or 2.5, progressing through to the excellent work that the Manufacturing Skills Academy will do. So with that, we invested in some money within the college. We were successful in the MCF project bid that Robert will talk a bit more about. And really our aim is really to just grow that kind of pipeline and collaborate with NMIS as we have been doing over the last couple of years. The output from that is that we were anticipating we'll equip SMEs within the kind of Renfrewshire and West region area with manufacturing 4.0 skills that will allow the business to prosper. The idea is they'll support staff to move along what we call the NMIS skills pipeline, and Jose spoke about that within the Manufacturing Skills Academy. And on top of that, with the push on meta skills, and Paul will talk a bit about that in a minute, we're really looking to try and push that forward as well. So at that, I'll hand over to Robert, my colleague, who's going to talk you through the first part on the Advanced Manufacturing Challenge Fund project.
Hello there. So, Alistair kindly introduced me there. We're just a wee technical issue here, just going on to, yeah. So, basically, my remit within the college is to lead and deliver on the AMCA Challenge Fund. We have just excuse me a second, folks. I'm just having a slight issue here. What we are trying to do at West College Scotland West College, through this project, we're in this position where we can offer this training to small and medium enterprises. We have the ability to offer this training through our AMCF project. The main crux of this is that the training is free to Does that be? No. So, as I said, based on the industry feedback that we had, the three main areas that were identified as requiring a focus on upskilling were CNC, and that's computerized numerical control, the 3D scanning and printing, and pneumatics and PLCs. The focus for us then was to try and see how we could further develop these areas and how we can engage with SMEs and take that further on. So what we did then is we had the opportunity to invest in some state-of-the-art CNC equipment, and we have a facility now where we can deliver variations of CNC training, be it programming, specific milling training or turning, or even CNC press brake. What we have the facility to do as well is we're using a software known as FANUC 31i, and that's one of the more common softwares out in industry. We've had a variation of interest in that. Some companies are new to CNC, some of them are working upskilling their existing skill basis and looking into using things like cycles and different techniques of programming, be it CAD/CAM and integrating other softwares, which is something that we can do as well. We actually offer a wee bit of CAD/CAM training using our Autodesk Inventor software. So the crux of what we try to do is be as flexible as possible and try and really target what would help the SME. The boys you actually see on the screen there was our first cohort, and they actually came from a company that would sit out with what you would think would be standard CNC activity. They're actually part of a joinery firm, and there has been advances made by them in moving their automation on. Now, we also had the opportunity to look at the 3D scan and printing areas. And what the ethos behind that was to try and capture a wee bit of the rapid prototyping activity that's out there, but also move into what is the latest kind of move for net zero, to try and help not be wasteful. So what I mean by that is some of the companies that we engage with have components in their equipment that's obsolete, And what they were looking at doing was, if they had to replace any components, could they actually 3D scan, print to get the prototype, and then get things manufactured? There's also technology that exists now, which is something we're trying to break into ourselves at the college, where we can actually scan to CAD, and then we could actually do a full reworking procedure. But what we can deliver here is 3D printing as a skill in its own. We have a 3D scanner where we can scan components that are of a intricate nature, but not, as you can imagine, not too complex, and we can actually recreate them in our Fusion 3D printer. It's a really, really good bit of kit. We also, as our third bundle, moved into looking at pneumatics, PLC, and process control. So, as Alistair kind of mentioned, we obviously the drive for this is to get to Industry 4. Now, you could argue that pneumatics isn't Industry 4. However, to control process and to work with that equipment, we feel that you have to have that base layer of knowledge. So one of the things that we try and offer is a refresh or even an upskilling in pneumatics. So you could be designing and building and debugging pneumatic circuitry, then moving that on to what we call electro-pneumatic, where we've got some sensor operation there, then kind of rounding off, if you like, with the ability to program the systems using the PLC programming. What we're trying to do is be as flexible as possible. However, Siemens is one of the languages that comes back as from industry is the one that everybody's kind of interested in. So that's what we're trying to focus on. But there is other ways that we can deliver that as well. But what we try to culminate this in, and you'll see there's a wee image of our mini conveyor system. And this is probably where the application of PLC and automation comes in, whereby we have this bit of kit, and it actually offers us a chance to show how this theory fits into an Industry 4 setting, excuse me, in that you can actually see the order come in, the conveyor system will select the correct component, move it along, pass it through the readers, and off it will go. And it actually shows you the talk back facility of some of the equipment that we've got, and it's really, really quite impressive. And that kind of culminates the training from the lower level at pneumatics and PLCs. Now, I do apologise for the slight issue at the start there with a wee connectivity issue, but hopefully that gives you a wee insight to what we're doing with the AMCF project. And later on in the presentation, there will be email address and a point of contact at MD. Who has any interest, just give me a shout through that email address and I can get further information to you. So I think we're going to pass over to Paul, and I'll just put this on mute.
Thanks, Robert. Good morning, everyone. My name's Paul Fagan. I'm Head of Enterprise and Employability at West College, Scotland. And I wanted to talk to you this morning about our meta skills development, specific focus on critical thinking, creative thinking, and innovation. I've not actually got control of the slides, so if I could ask Jose or Alistair to move on the slide, that'd be great. Thanks for that. So why is this important, and what's its connection to advanced manufacturing and digital manufacturing? Well, at its essence, Manufacturing 4.0 is about change, and what we recognise with stakeholders, and I'm sure you in industry recognise, is that change is exponential. It is rapid. So whilst we are looking to build our infrastructure to support you to move towards a Manufacturing 4.0 near future, it's important that you build the capacity, capability, and indeed the confidence of your workforce so that they embrace that change. If you can move on the slide, please. So ultimately what we're looking to develop in your workforce and in your teams are employees who embrace that capacity for continuous learning, that thrive within technological change and have ownership, assume that responsibility for their own learning, behaviour and practice, and also that of their teams. And also as leaders have the ability to motivate others to embrace that change within your business and across the manufacturing ecosystem. Next slide, please. So what we're focused upon, so just mute my dog by closing the door there. It's a range of skills for your workforce. And Robert touched on those technical skills that we would be looking to develop and deliver for your workforce. And there are also foundational skills in digital and resilience in leadership, particularly in this post-pandemic, post-Brexit world. But within the realm of meta skills, we're focused on self-management, innovation, and social intelligence. Next slide, please. Thanks. I don't want to go through this verbatim. It would be a very, very dull slide to do so. But it's been helpful for us to use definitions that have been created by the National Skills Agency, the Skills Development Scotland. And as you can see, there are 12 meta skills here, and then they're ordered into three bundles, as I described: self-management, social intelligence, and innovation. So very quickly, self-management is about taking responsibility for your own behaviour. Social intelligence is having an awareness of others within your team and your organisation. And innovation is the ability to create significant positive change. And it is this third bundle of skills that we focused on developing particular courses and projects to support small to medium enterprises, both in the West region, but also nationally. And specifically, we've focused upon creativity, creative skills, innovation itself, and critical thinking. Next slide, please. So a common feature of all our meta skills training, be it in critical thinking, creative thinking, or innovation, is they are aimed at decision makers, people in management roles, problem solving roles, creative roles, and project management. We've created courses and projects that are that employees can access online. Again, we developed these and started to deliver them in a sort of post-pandemic world, so that made sense. But it's also helped maximise participation. And fundamentally, we've also looked at developing projects and courses where the collaboration supports the application of challenges and projects that you may be looking at in real work situations. Next slide, please. I just wanted to touch on one of the courses and projects that we've developed. As I said, we have been able to deliver courses in critical thinking, creativity and creative thinking, and innovation. And they've been projects that we've developed, delivered with employers across the West region and beyond. Our first one was in critical thinking. And just to summarise, that's the ability to analyse, evaluate, and draw conclusions from data to solve complex problems and make decisions. And by doing that, you can generate ideas and you can collate or coalesce around a variety of perspectives and evaluate the information. Engineering and manufacturing have been an obvious environment where critical thinking can be applied. And by applying it, employees weigh up conflicting arguments using logic thinking and judgment and make use of these tools in a variety of operating contexts. Next slide, please. So, as I said, we've worked with a range of different organisations in manufacturing, engineering, and indeed across a number of different sectors in the West region. Some of our flagship employers have included Scottish Leather Group, Ken Ring Energetics, and Strathclyde Passenger Transport. And as Jose was touching on earlier, we were actually part of a pilot with NMIS under that bundle of operational excellence and change management. And I wanted to draw out some of the learning outcomes that employees shared with us, and that was that they found they were able to develop their skills to make connections between different pieces of data that point to a trend or an observation. They developed their skills to curate that data to garner multiple perspectives and build evidence-based solutions. They were able to develop their techniques to hear and obviously project or posit different perspectives. And it also enabled them to work in a group to self-reflect on their own biases and assumptions. And self-reflect is a sort of core skill that you develop through any of the meta skills courses, but specifically around critical thinking. They were able to develop their consensus building skills and develop their professional competency in online communication, and also build their awareness around local stakeholders and indeed regional stakeholders. Next slide, please. So again, by way of illustration, I just wanted to give you a flavour of some of the challenges that businesses brought to these courses and projects. So we had a template and a way of working, but ultimately what we wanted businesses to be able to do was to apply that in a practical setting, apply it to challenges and opportunities that they saw within their own business and recognised in other businesses that we're working with. So some of those challenges involve specific business manufacturing processes. There were common challenges around how to market their business. There were challenges around supporting business continuity, specifically coming out of COVID. They wanted to prepare their company for manufacturing 4.0, and they wanted to look at ways in which they could do that. There were, again, common challenges around recruitment, induction and retention, both around practice, but also developing new programs. And there were also opportunities they identified around how they could apply critical thinking to how they engage with stakeholders and develop deep and embed innovation practices, so that when the course ended, that wasn't the end of the process or the opportunity for their business and their team, and indeed them as decision makers and leaders within their organisation. Next slide, please. So I'll come on and talk about some of the funding opportunities that are available to you as a small to medium enterprise. Specifically, I want to highlight the Flexible Workforce Development Fund, which is a Scottish Government fund. Next slide, please. So the Development Fund has been in operation for 6 years now. It's a Scottish Government fund. It focuses on providing opportunities for businesses to access fully funded training to support workforce training and development. For those SMEs that are in the call this morning, there's a specific fund available for you, which can be accessed through West College Scotland and other colleges. Next slide, please. For SMEs operating across Scotland, the definition is a business with less than 250 employees. You're eligible for up to £5,000 worth of training. If you identify training that's important to your business that exceeds that limit, then the Flexible Workforce Development Fund can act as a subsidy to that. And it's one application per SME. And for larger, what we describe as levy paying companies, so those organisations that are paying an apprenticeship levy to government, then they can access £15,000 worth of training. Next slide, please. Obviously, every organisation is different, with different learning and development needs, both currently and in the future. So the college has developed an extensive range of modules across a wide range of continuous professional development requirements that allows you to tailor those courses to meet the needs of your organisation. If you were to speak to us about something that we didn't have within our current programme, then we would work with you to either develop that and or identify a training provider who can deliver that. Next slide, please. And I'll pass you back to Alistair to talk about our modern apprenticeships portfolio in engineering and manufacturing. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. So just as Paul said, I'm going to just spend the last 5 minutes or so of our presentation talking about modern apprenticeship, kind of delivery and funding. The college itself, we're a managing agent for Skills Development Scotland, who supply the funding to all modern apprenticeship provision across Scotland. With that, we're then able to access the funding on behalf of employers, and in doing so, it enables employers to essentially access free training at no cost to the college for the main elements of the modern apprenticeship. Just to kind of clarify, and maybe some on the call who are aware of what's within the modern apprenticeship framework, the current setup within the engineering framework is there's 4 components that make up the modern apprenticeship. We have core skills, which are in numeracy, communication, IT, working with others, and problem solving. The off-the-job element of the training, as it tends to be known, is the performing engineering operations at SVQ level 2. That generally takes place in the first year of the training within the college itself. So we have currently about 100 apprentices across the 3 campuses undertaking the SVQ level 2 as part of their modern apprenticeship. The third component, bottom left, is the SVQ level 3. Now that takes place within the workplace, and that will be supported by the college's work-based assessment team through generally years 2, 3 and 4 of the apprenticeship. And then the final part of it is further education or higher education. So within that and within the funding, each apprentice is entitled to either a national certificate qualification or a higher national certificate qualification. So essentially the funding that the college draws down on behalf of the employer accesses all of these qualifications that you see on the screen in front of you. So the core skills, SVQ level 2, SVQ level 3, and either a national certificate, higher national certificate. So all fully funded through the college and the SDS framework. As a college, as I said, we have more than 100 apprentices in first year currently, and we hope to grow in that. We classify them in a few areas. So we've got advanced manufacturing, where I spoke about work with NMIS, work with diodes down in Greenock. We're looking at automation and maintenance as well as a kind of growth area, hence the MCF project. And we currently deliver quite a lot of fabrication and welding apprenticeships, possibly the biggest amount in Scotland out of our Clydebank campus with some of our key employer partners that we work with there. In terms of the funding, as I spoke earlier, so the level of funding is dependent on the age of the candidate and also rules and residency. Generally, what we would do as a college is we would draw the funding down on behalf of the employer, and we would not be asking for any additional monies on top of that, assuming that the candidate is able to access some of the funding. So the funding is different from a 16 to 19-year-old than it is for a 20 plus. But generally, as a rule of thumb, at our West College Scotland, we look just to absorb all of that into the overall funding that we get. The funding is released over the duration of the modern apprenticeship, essentially over 4 years, so 16 milestones paid every quarter. As I spoke about earlier, the funding covers the SVQ 2, 3 core skills and NC, and we're looking to make sure there's zero cost to an employer for all elements of the modern apprenticeship within the framework. As part of the offer from the college, we also have a kind of programme management that we can offer to employers. We have a specific skills programme manager and support team and coordinator, so we'd look after that. We are very, very heavily involved with awarding bodies such as SQ and EAL, as well as the Sector Skills Council for the qualifications, so we can, where necessary, influence changes in qualifications if employers feel that the need for any specific elements to be added. We have a wide range of engineering experience. If you go back to the legacy colleges of Reed, Kerr, James Watt and Clydebank, they were very, very focused on engineering, and we've continued to do that. We do encourage a lot of our own staff to do CPD. Last week we had several of our staff out at a couple of the employers, both small and large, that we work with, and we would be very keen to engage with any SMEs that feel that they could help us on that journey. And as I said, with the wide range of employers we currently work with, there is opportunities to kind of benchmark your company against other companies in a kind of similar size and scale. So that's kind of draws it to a close. So as Robert mentioned earlier, if anyone requires any further information on either our AMCF training, our Flexible Workforce Development Fund that can be accessed on behalf of employers, or apprenticeships, then the contacts are on the screen just now. So we would welcome any queries from yourselves directed to these inboxes, and we would respond to them in due course. So I think just finish up just to thank you for your time this morning. We are available listen to questions now. I know the chat function was been encouraged. So if you want to put anything in the chat, either myself, Paul, Robert or Jose, if it's in relation to the first part of the presentation, we'll be more than happy to assist. So I'll hand back to Jose now, who's chairing the session, and just thank you for your time.
Thanks, Alistair. Thanks, Paul, and thanks, Robert. We have had a couple of questions from the audience, but I think it's really exciting to see all of that support from the college to the industry. So the first question is from Shelley Watt. She's asking if the courses that are offered by West College Scotland. So I think this is maybe a two answer, one from Robert and one for Paul. She's asking if the courses are offered free or if they are funded by the Flexible Workforce Development Fund. And she's wondering whether delegates are restricted to companies within the Renfrewshire area as well.
So I'll take that first. So all the courses that Robert described in his presentation are free. They're fully funded. So they're free at the point of use, and they're available to any Scottish SME. So it's not just focused on the West region. Obviously, there's logistics there. So we would expect the majority of participating SMEs, indeed that's what we've seen, have come from the West region, but any SME from Scotland is eligible to engage and use the project and all the courses that Robert's described. In terms of the meta skills, that training has been supported through some pilot funding. It's been supported through UK government funding, Scottish government funding, and indeed in collaboration with yourself, Jose, at NMIS. And Flexible Workforce Development Fund would be a mechanism for supporting some of the meta skills funding. And then, as Alistair touched on around modern apprenticeships, then again that is wholly subsidised for the employer.
Thank you very much, Paul. There's another.
Just to clarify, maybe the area where there's a question where it's restricted to the Renfrewshire, FWDF funding is available across the whole of Scotland. The SDS who released the funding and the Scottish Funding Council probably prefer that you work with your local college, but we are comfortable to work with you in the first instance, or if you are based elsewhere, we can link you up with a specific college. There are some courses that are only offered by certain colleges, but just it is available throughout Scotland. So where we're looking to make you aware of everything that West College Scotland can do. If you're a company based in Aberdeen, for instance, you might not want to be travelling down here.
Thank you very much, Alistair. And I'll follow that one up because I think it relates to AMCF support that we provide. So our program is going to come to an end in summer of this year, but the idea is that the training programs that we have developed through AMCF, and I think it might be the same with the college, and Robert may be able to expand on this, but there's expected there's going to be a legacy that these projects will leave, and from our perspective, the courses that we have created will continue to be offered free of charge until they become obsolete. So I think that's the nature of our programs. Is your programs going to continue, Robert, after the AMCF comes to an end?
So it's our understanding that obviously we've got the equipment set up. We've now got a nice area that we're calling our AMCF technical workshop, I think is what we're thinking on. But we have this equipment and we have the ability to keep the training going forward. So we're looking to try and keep these avenues open to the SMEs in the local area and try and further develop some stuff. And I think that's where we touch back to some of the other funds available through time, depending on how we can qualify it and get people going. But certainly the technology is going to stay with us, and the hope is to try and bolster the technical awareness and abilities of those that we're working with.
Perfect. Thank you much, Robert. There's one more question from Chrissy, and the question is on the modern apprenticeships. The question is if there is a cost for the employer, and it's a question of employability as well, whether the modern apprentice will be employed by the college and partner with a business, or is this person needing to be in employment first by the business and then apply through their vocational training with WCS afterwards?
So I'll pick that one up, Jose. So there'll be a misunderstanding of the presentation. So the funding is there for all of the training. So yes, the answer is that the apprentice needs to be employed by the business and paid by the business. The funding is there to cover all of the training elements, so it's the training funding that's free. There's probably a couple of caveats there. Some local authorities, you may be able to dip into some training grants for apprentices. I know Inverclyde Council that they offer a kind of a 50% funding for the first year of an apprenticeship. So there's funding that's specific to local authority areas that we maybe want to look into. The other point is that we do this with a number of our SMEs, and Robert can confirm this, where you can do a pre-apprenticeship programme, so you can do one or two of the elements of the MA, which means when they come to the completion of either the SVQ level 2 or the national certificate, there's no requirement for them to go back to college to complete that. So you can look to recruit directly from the college. So hopefully that answers that question from Chrissy.
Yeah, no, it has been just a gotcha. Thanks. Perfect. Thanks, Chrissy. There's no more questions in the chat, but I think I picked up a couple of things that I would like to ask the team. Robert, with regards to your training, I was just wondering, it's very exciting. You know, I think you're right. We have also encountered the same issue with having to go back to basics with some of the companies we work, because they're not ready for that leap, and it's challenged everything that we thought we knew. But just looking at the support that you offer, it seems to be of a very practical focus. Is that the idea, or is there multiple levels at this training, and how is it being delivered?
Well, what we've found as we kind of grew this, the SMEs that we were engaging with had an ageing workforce and various people at various different stages of their career, and the interest certainly peaked when they realised that, you know, the common myth of a college course being that you had to come and sit and take notes and pass exams and stuff like that. So what we're trying to do is kind of be short and sharp and really give them the skills that they're looking to gain. So yeah, I mean, it's very much a hands-on experience with us. We're basically wanting to get folk in and let them kind of experience, and if I'm honest, have a bit of a play in an area that they wouldn't necessarily get to have within their work. And there's a bit of personal development in there as well. And I think you probably find this yourself, Jose, when people are invested in it themselves and they're, to coin a phrase, getting their hands dirty, it kind of keeps them really, really interested, and it piques the interest. So that's what we're trying to work on. And also, I think, you know, you could get bogged down in a lot of the technicalities behind things, and sometimes the experience for the learner is just so much better when they're actually part of it and getting to see their ideas come to fruition. The thing I quite like about the 3D printer that we've got is it's quite a quick turnaround. The printer's quite it's got quite a quick print time. Off the top of my head, I can't remember the exact details, but certainly we've printed stuff that's probably about, you know, 100 mil by 50 mil thick, and it'll do it in 25 minutes. It's really quite a quick one. So from that point of view, it's quite good that we could get somebody in and have them walk out with a printed component. I can't say the same for the scanning. The scanning's a wee bit more to that, but that's something that we can work on if it's a requirement, you know.
No, that's exciting, and I think for us, now with the promise of the new building, you know, we haven't been able to play with equipment the same way that you guys have, but it'll be useful to keep the conversation. We also have content that could potentially complement what you have. If you think conversation is worth having, then great. I have one more question. This was going to be for Paul, and with regards to the critical the meta skills. We ran a program before, Paul, and it was we as I don't know if you recall, but the preconceptions of industry and learners again challenge our understanding. And I wonder if your experience working this project now, if you know, if you think companies really understand the value of this type of personal development, and if the students appreciate as well the importance of something like this.
Well, that was one of the key reasons for looking at developing this, Jose. As I said, this is something that is particularly for larger companies that have got different cohorts of apprentices. They would join an organisation and then be developed as apprentices and be fully immersed in the language and the awareness of meta skills. And also it's foundational to the technological change. So it builds confidence where people don't see it as a threat, but something that they're going to embrace. so that we've not really had difficulty populating the courses, to be honest. I think people have seen the opportunity that it presents, have wanted to understand it, have maybe been in different conversations with other stakeholders, either local authorities or Skills Development Scotland, and wanted to unpick that language. And as I said, I think we've found it helpful to also to be able to define that, and then for people to apply it. So all I can say is from some of those pilot courses we've had companies, in fact, I've had an organisation as recently as this morning come back to us and ask if they can have a further cohort participate in it. So it seems to be something that's developing and building momentum.
Great. No, I think we have seen the conversation change as well. You know, the focus on skills rather than specific knowledge of certain technical elements. So no, that's
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
And I think there's two outcomes to it. I touched on the learning outcomes for a business, if you like. So you have employees that are able to embrace change and support and build the capacity of the business. One of the questions, and it's an ongoing question, it's the same for apprentices and it's the same for the skills agency, is how do you capture or how do you measure the development of a meta skill? And ultimately that's about self-reflection. So you may quantify that. You may say, well, I'm starting at a 2 and I'm looking to move towards a 4 or a 5. But these are foundational skills that are ongoing. So it's not that there's a beginning and an end and you're fully developed in being innovative or being curious or developing your creativity. These are ongoing skills that you'll have through your career, both in your current employer and perhaps future employers. So we have thought about that as a college and sought how we can capture that for learners through self-reflection and journals.
No, it's great to hear that positive reaction because it is very, very important. Robert, you had your hand raised.
Yeah, I was just going to just comment on what Paul was saying there. So we've got a good example of that type of thing coming about through the AMCF project. So one of the companies that we'd engaged with, if I'm honest, they employ quite a lot of operators, and the operators are varied in backgrounds and all the rest of it. And the boys that came to us to do a wee bit of CNC training, by their own admission, didn't have a good experience of education. But once they came and they enjoyed the course and they started to gain a wee bit, I've seen their attitude towards education changing so much so that there's a bit of a dialogue going on in the background with this company to see how we could support them further and if there's any merit in them looking at a modern apprenticeship scheme. So there's that, to me, kind of ties in with what Paul was saying there, how they're measuring their own development and stuff like that. These people have went from being, I would say, education deniers to people that are now engaged and on a pathway. So I think it's evident in that as well, you know.
Well, no, that's great to hear. I don't think we have any more questions from the delegates today, and I think we're getting close to the end of the webinar. So last opportunity for anybody in the audience maybe to ask a question, but if you don't, then we will share our details, and as we mentioned, we'll share some feedback. If you can help us to complete that, that'll be great. And the presentation will be online for you to look afterwards. And Debbie, is it okay to hand over to you now?
Yep, sure. Thanks very much, Jose. That was really good. I'd just like to say perfect timing, and thanks everyone for joining us today, and thanks to our presenters, Jose from the NMIS Manufacturing Skills Academy and Alistair, Paul and Robert from West College, Scotland. And we will just bring the webinar to a close now. Thanks very much, everyone. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Yes, bye.